So are you ready to explore the Boston Wasteland? Hello there, my fellow Vault Dwellers and Wasteland Wonders. What's up? It's Robbie with Open World Games, and I'm going to give you some beginner's tips for Fallout 4 based off the information that we know. I think these are going to be extremely useful. In fact, I think they would be useful for basically any open world RPG that has several different types of difficulty settings, like Skyrim and that sort of thing, and they definitely will help you with Fallout 4. So let's get started. The big thing about these type of games, these huge, immense, expansive open worlds, is exploring. Of course, you want to get out there and explore. Well, Fallout 4 is a bit different than Fallout 3. The enemies will have set level ranges for different parts of the game world. That is, if you stumble into a certain part of Boston, you will notice certain enemies having, level 30 through 35 or something like that. Beware, this game will act like Dark Souls or Bloodborne in this way and several other ways. So if you do run into high tier enemies that are higher level than you, it's wise to stop, go, oh man, I need to head back and I need to level up instead of trying to power through it. It's wiser to say to yourself, okay, in a couple hours, maybe even 10 hours, I will be returning to this area, I assure you, my ghoulish friend, and I shall take you down. So just remember that. And also, mentioning these powerful enemies, you will be running into legendary enemies that you just cannot face off against at the beginning of the game. It's like you will die. Just remember their general locations and then return and face off against them to net special gear and weapons. They will be dropping rare loot items and weapons, so remember that. Level up and prepare yourself before facing off against certain legendary enemies as well. So with that being said, exploration sounds like it could be a little bit rough in Fallout 4, so I highly recommend staying on the mission path for the first hours, as this will net you new weapons and gear, and it will just get you more familiar with the game. Side missions are a ton more fun, by the way, with the better gear and just being more comfortable with the game. I have found this to be so true about many games that I have played in the past that are open world, so I think that this will help you out big time. Stay on that main mission path for just a little bit, a couple hours in the beginning of the game, especially until after you get your settlement going, and then you can be on your way to perhaps exploring some side activities. Also, the dialogue tree this time is a bit different. No longer can you choose all of the options on the screen and go back and say, I still want to ask that question. Once you choose a tree, it closes out other dialogue options within the wheel, so just beware of this when you are playing the game. And by the way, I highly recommend specializing your character. That means if you want to be a melee-centric character, make sure you invest properly. Being a jack of all trades may sound really cool, but it may make your journey quite difficult, especially in the beginning of the game. I mean, if you're weak at guns and you're weak at your melee combat, because you have spread your points out so thin, it's not really going to be beneficial to you. So I really consider investing into one or the other. That's just my opinion. And remember, if you do invest in guns, you will need ammunition, of course, throughout your journey, meaning the game may be a little bit more difficult for you, and you will likely have less bottle caps because of it, because you are constantly replenishing your ammunition. So just keep that in mind. But you know what? I'm still gonna go for it because I am a gun nut, and that is how I have played Fallout games. And personally, I reserve my ammunition so well, I guess you would say, that I haven't really had a problem running out of ammunition that much. So maybe it won't be a problem with you. Just be careful of that. Just make sure you reserve your ammunition and make sure you are on target and not wasting bullets. This isn't like Call of Duty where you can just spray and pray. And for us newcomers, which is basically all of us, I highly recommend investing into the endurance skill tree for many different reasons. It will up your resistance to radiation, and then you will not take as much damage from incoming fire and that sort of thing. It'll just upgrade your general toughness. And by the way, you will notice by the Fallout 4 map that is on the Pip-Boy app on your phone, on your mobile device, that you will see tons and tons of water, more so than in Fallout 3, around the map. This means that there's going to be more radiation for sure, so you definitely want to consider toughening up And you know, since water is such a big deal in Fallout games, you want to stay away from it. Endurance is important because of Aqua Boy. This is a perk that allows you to take no radiation damage from swimming and can even breathe underwater. And then later down the road, you can even have radiation regenerate some of your lost health. So as you can see, there's tons of benefits for the survival aspect of the game when investing in endurance. And do you want to be antisocial? I'm sure you do. Well, there is the Lone Wanderer perk. Now, this isn't just for roaming the wasteland by yourself. There's actually something in there that's extremely important no matter what, even if you do have a companion. You can up your carry weight by 50. This is so important to me to keep upping your inventory weight because it makes fast travel and moving around the world so much simpler. You don't have to be over encumbered. You have no idea how much of a pain it is to be over encumbered when you just want to explore. So whatever you do, make sure you upgrade enough charisma to get the Lone Wanderer perk. And there's so many other reasons beyond Lone Wanderer to invest into charisma, as it could potentially open up new missions for you throughout your journey and net you bigger rewards than just, you know, shooting people. But still, I have to admit, I want to pull the trigger. Because look at all the mod tools. Look at all the things you could do with your guns. How can you not want to shoot people in the face with these? Come on, you can't blame me. But guys, let me know what path you are going to be taking in Fallout 4. Please, again, post your character build in the description below. I'm so curious to see what type of character you guys are going to be playing with. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I, of course, will see you in the Boston Wasteland soon enough. See you guys later.